You know, it's been quite a while since I've done a model train review on this channel. Heck, it's been a while since I've done a train-related video in general. I've noticed that in the last 2 years of my newer videos, my Thomas-related content still brings in the most engagement with my channel. And since my Thomas model collection has grown significantly throughout my absence, I figured it's time to go back and take a closer look at some of them. And what better way to do so than by taking a look at Bachmann's newest release in the Thomas range. Ladies and gentlemen, here is my review of Bachmann's newest HO scale model, Beau.
Okay, what the
I know.
So what is there to say about Beau as a character? Beau made his first and only appearance in the 2018 Thomas and Friends movie, Big World, Big Adventures. In the movie, he helps Thomas back onto the rails after Thomas crashes while visiting the United States. It's stated that Beau is a mining engine, and that near the Grand Canyon is where he works. Other than that, nothing is really known about him. He's one of those odd one-off characters that was introduced in the Big World, Big Adventures era of the show. According to the Thomas and Friends wiki, Beau is based on the Virginia and Truckee No. 12 locomotive, nicknamed Genoa, an American 440 steam locomotive that was built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1873, and is currently on display at the California State Railroad Museum. I honestly really like the American 440 engines. To me, they are such lookers with their old school design, diamond-shaped smokestacks, big brass bells, and their bright headlights at the top. I can never complain about seeing one of these beauties. And I think it's really cool that we got to see them get represented in Thomas and Friends. Well, at least for the short time we got them. The Big World era of Thomas had this crazy trend of just bringing in so many characters for these really short periods of time, and then never to be seen again. So you can imagine my shock when Bachmann announced that one of these said characters was being produced for their HO scale Thomas range. Granted though, I can see why. Bachmann has produced a lot of American 440 engines in HO scale over time, so clearly they have the tooling locked down. As even stated by Doug Blaine during a Thomas Tuesday event on trainworld.com, Bachmann figured that since they had the tooling for it, they decided that Beau was worth a shot, and he was announced in Bachmann's 2022 catalog. So with that sort of shortcut in mind, how well did Beau's model turn out? Let's just say there's a lot to dissect. The first thing to notice is Beau's packaging. No surprise, this model comes in the standard Bachmann-Thomas packaging that they normally use for the HO scale range. However, there's some slight differences this time around. When opening the box, instead of the normal plastic carton the engines are normally sitting in, Beau is more wrapped all the way around in plastic that unfolds, which is akin to Bachmann's more traditional packaging that they use for the other non-Thomas products. So is this proof that Bachmann actually could just use normal boxes for the Thomas range and just choose not to? Because it really looks like it. Come on Bachmann, I'm tired of opening my Thomas models like this. Anyways, let's go ahead and take Beau out of this blister package and give him a good look over. Now, the first thing I noticed about this is... Okay, so it turns out one of Beau's handrails broke off. Now, I don't know if this was just an accident during shipping, or if anyone else's model also had this same problem, but seriously? Anyway, looks like I gotta give this old man a quick fix.
2 hours later.
That's better. Anyways, the first thing to notice about this model is his size. This dude is tiny. Without a doubt, the smallest model Bachmann has made for the HO scale range. I mean, look at how big Thomas is compared to him. Heck, here's him next to Scarlowe. I know the 440s are already pretty small in HO scale as it is, but it just feels a bit off seeing one like this that's meant to go alongside the Thomas characters. And Beau was introduced in the CGI series where the scaling issues were off the wall!
This is disgusting.
Then again, Beau is made from reused tooling, so I guess this is to be expected. But I don't know. It's still strange. Moving on, as I stated before, I love American 440s. And Beau's design is no exception. He's pretty much what I expected shape-wise. The paint scheme on him looks neat. The silver on the boiler and the red on the wheels all look great. He even has the white rim on the outside of his wheels, a feature that's also present on both Rosie and Adventure Begins Thomas. It's nice. Now, detail-wise, this might be due to the tooling used, but I think Beau might be the most detailed model in the Thomas range that I've ever seen. Compared to all the other models, there's quite a chunk of separately applied pieces on this tiny model. The handrails, the whistle, the bell, the actual plastic windows and the cab, the handbrake and the tender. Look at this thing! Dare I say that I genuinely like this? Ryan alone was showing a step up in quality, having his own separate fitted handrails, but Beau? Wow! At the same time, however, all this detail does come at a cost. Beau is a really fragile model. Trust me, I should know. And friendly reminder that Bachmann is technically selling this to children. If any parents out there are really planning on getting this model for your young ones, I suggest you please watch them with this at all costs. This guy can break easily. I can't stress that enough! Now, if there's one thing I've noticed that's inaccurate to his TV counterpart, it's his cowcatcher. In the TV series, Beau is depicted with a set of buffers sitting above his cowcatcher. However, for some reason, again, possibly the tooling, Bachmann decided to just use the standard cowcatcher used for previous 440s, which, instead of buffers, features a big knuckle coupler protruding from the middle. Now, this may be a bit of a shock to you all, but I kinda prefer him without the buffers. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's not accurate to the TV series, though! I know. But having the knuckle coupler cowcatcher instead actually makes Beau even more accurate to his real-life counterpart. The Genoa didn't have any buffers, and let alone, something Mattel themselves should have known from the start, American locomotives don't have buffers, period! So, if anything, Bachmann made Beau even more accurate than Mattel themselves did! And honestly, it's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. Now, despite the knuckle coupler on the front, Beau is still a member of the Thomas & Friends line, so in tradition, he still retains the typical hook and loop coupler on the back of his tender. No surprises there. Interestingly enough though, Beau's tender also features electrical pickups, something I've never seen before on any of the Thomas tender engines. Kinda cool if you ask me. He even also features what appears to be a speaker. This kinda makes sense given that the other American 440s that Bachmann makes are also DCC ready and feature sounds. Speaking of features, Beau is also the first in the H.O. Thomas range to not have the moving eye mechanism. This has been a staple in the Thomas range since the very beginning. But given how incredibly small the model is, there clearly wouldn't be any room to add such a feature. So Bachmann decided to compromise by making Beau the first in the series to instead feature a working headlight.
Huh, neat.
So for looks and first impressions, I think that's all I have to say. Now, I think it's time we head down to the layout and give this guy... Oh, I forgot to mention, I moved houses a while ago, which means that I had to get rid of my old layout. So, Beau's just going to be running on a small oval for the time being, as I currently don't have any space for a big layout. It's not much, but it'll have to do. Now, Beau is honestly a pretty smooth runner. However, his small motor doesn't make him that fast. In addition, his small size doesn't allow him to pull really heavy trains, as I noticed he was seeming to struggle a bit just pulling the goods train that I had for him. Also, I should mention that my track here is pretty old and dirty, which definitely caused him to stutter a bit. But what are my final overall thoughts on Bachmann's newest release? I'm going to be honest, as absolutely strange of a choice this engine was, I think he's pretty decent. I believe that what Beau is lacking in overall popularity, I think he makes up for it with his impressive details. Granted, I feel I do need to take a point off for having to fix him right out of the box. Come on, Bachmann, this is going to kids! Do better! As well as for his weak performance, it isn't the best, but for an engine this small, I guess it's passable. The working headlamp is also a nice touch, so I'll give it that. My final rating for this model is a 6.5 out of 10. Overall, Beau is just okay, but he's a welcome addition to my fleet nonetheless. Do I recommend picking one up? I think it really depends on you. If you like big world, big adventures, then sure, give him a shot. I personally despise this era of Thomas and Friends, but I figured I'd go into this one with an open mind as, again, I still love the American 440, and I'm okay with it. Plus, Bachmann's the only range of Thomas products out there that's actually still good. But also, if you're looking into purchasing one, I'd highly recommend purchasing it from trainworld.com. They're selling their Thomas models at really good discounted prices that are far more affordable than what Bachmann themselves are selling them at. What? I'll leave a link to them down in the description below this review. So, that wraps up my thoughts on Bachmann Beau. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button down below so you can help my channel grow. Also, leave a comment and tell me your thoughts on Beau down below. If you're new to my channel, be sure to hit subscribe and ring the bell icon to be notified when I upload a new video. Thanks for checking out this episode of Rapid Reviews, everyone. I'll see you guys later.